Good morning, KNDMS team and family. My name is Jeremy Mullet, your Assistant Principal of Instruction, and this is your Friday Community Update. Welcome back from winter break. This is our first community update of the new semester. This is our first community update of the new quarter. So it's kind of a pretty big deal. Thank you all so much for joining us for community updates in the second half of the year. Now, to kick things off, we got a few big pieces to talk about. First is our intent to return surveys. Those were sent out in paper a little while ago. And we need those back from every single family so we can figure out how many students we're going to have at our school next year. So the intent to return survey can be completed in 4 ways. 1, the paper copy that you've already received. We sent that home with students before the break. The second option is to just call the school, let Miss Irene in the front office know. The third option is to come into the school. Tell us in person that you do intend to return or you don't intend to return. And the fourth option is going to be digitally. What you're seeing right now is a QR code. If you scan that QR code, it'll take you to a digital version of the intent to return survey and you can complete it there. Now, if you need this QR code, feel free to pause the video right here. And then unpause it as soon as you're done. Next up, I want to talk about an event taking place just about 2 blocks away over at KNDLA, our KIPP High School. That is an immunization clinic that is going to be happening on the 25th from 4 to 8 over at KNDLA. So if you or your students need some vaccines, some vaccinations, that would be a great place to go and get those shots. Now, there is a whole range of different vaccinations that will be available, but they are only going to be available if they are in stock at that time. So the sooner you come, the earlier you come, the more options you will have available for you. Next up, we're going to turn it over to Miss Hudson for some updates on independent reading. That's right. Independent reading is still happening even in the second semester because it is just that important. So let's turn it over to Miss Hudson.
Hello, families. Happy Friday. This is your independent reading update. Again, my name is Miss Hudson, the Humanities Instructional Coach here at KNDMS. As a reminder, kids, it is a new year, but you still have the same goal, which is to independently read for 20 minutes in your advisory class because you still have your words read goals, and with those goals are aligned rewards and incentives for you. Families, if you continue to encourage your kiddos to engage with independent reading during their advisory class, have a conversation about what your kid is reading, what they're interested in reading, so on and so forth, we can continue to make independent reading live as a priority at our school.
Thank you, Ms. Hudson. Kipsters, please just keep reading. And when you're done reading, take that AR quiz. Let's keep moving towards these goals. You've got a lot of words to read over the course of this year, and we're about at that halfway point now. So keep reading, keep crushing those goals. Speaking of goals, let's talk about some grades. And to do that, we're going to do our academic update with Mr. Halfacre.
Good morning, families and students. My name is Lane Halfacre. I'm our principal in residence here at KNDMS. I'm excited to be with you today to talk a little bit about some academic updates. One of our focuses for quarter 3 is going to be increased transparency around grades. Families, we want to make sure that you know at all times how your student is performing in each of their classes and how you can best support to help with academic growth. In addition, students, we want you to know daily where you are, how you're performing in each of your classes, what assignments happen to be missing at this time, and which teachers you need to follow up with so that you can make up those missing assignments and so that you are ready to work alongside your teacher on the areas that you have the most growth in. We think that grading is really important, so I want to talk a little bit about some changes that we're going to make sure that we are supporting all of you and being able to understand what grades are at any point in time. First of all, families, I want to talk about what you can expect each week. In all of your students' classes, teachers will be inputting grades weekly into Infinite Campus. Teachers will be putting these grades in along with the overall proficiency band aligned to how they're scoring. You will see grades such as 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Remember that we're always striving for that 4, which means that we're meeting expectations. Families, you can check these grades weekly so that you know how your student is performing and follow up with your teacher to see if there are any next steps in terms of how you can support from home. In terms of platforms, families, we recommend that you check out DPS Parent Portal. It's really easy to sign up, and access to the parent portal gives you access at all times to students' grades in each of their classes. Students are going to be logging in to Infinite Campus every Wednesday during advisories so that they can check their own grades. We believe really strongly that students need to build the self-advocacy skills to know where they are and reach out to their teacher when they need help. So we hope that this practice of logging in once a week, checking our grades, seeing how we're doing on assignments, will lead students to advocating more with their teachers around what's missing. Lastly, I want to provide some clarity around a really important word that pops up a lot, which is missing. Families and students, anytime you see the word missing attached to an assignment, that means that we expect you to complete that assignment. Now, whether you missed that assignment because you were out of school or at a doctor's appointment, or maybe even out of the country for a short time, or if you were in school and forgot to hand that paper to your teacher, for whatever reason, your teacher does not have that assignment and expects it back from you at some point. So if you see that word missing, please remember to go back and check in with that teacher so you can finish it. That includes assignments that may be marked both missing and excused. Please don't worry about the calculation. This is a step that we're taking as a school to help inform our grade books exactly what we're trying to say. But if you see the word missing, please note that your teacher expects you to complete that assignment. I appreciate you all taking some time to chat with me today, and I can't wait to see all the academic growth that we make when everybody's on the same page. Thanks a lot. Happy Friday.
Families, I know Parent Portal and checking your student's grade can sometimes seem a little bit intimidating at first, but the more you've done it, the more you look, the more you use that system, the easier it's going to be, not just to look, but to also have some conversations with your Kipsters about their grades, specifically around what might be missing or what they might want to redo. We are standards-based grades, which means if a student scored pretty low on an assignment, they can always make it up. They can redo it, they can fix it. If an assignment is missing, they can turn it in again. It's not missing forever. So they have until the end of this quarter to make up any missing work or fix any grades that they don't really like to see in that grade book. Next up is our Culture Corner. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Johnson first for this week's Culture Corner.
Good morning and happy Friday, Kipsters, and welcome to this week's edition of Culture Corner. As you may all know, there is no school this coming Monday as we honor the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. King faced many obstacles while on his mission for equality. He was arrested over 25 times for protesting. He was the object of several violent attacks, both to his person and his property. He received threatening phone calls, his home was bombed and set afire, and he was even stabbed. Martin Luther King Jr. dedicated his life to the nonviolent struggle for civil rights in the United States. King's leadership played a pivotal role in ending entrenched segregation for African Americans and in the creation of Civil Rights Act of 1964. This was considered a crowning achievement of the civil rights era. Some of the quotes that Dr. King is famously known for: "The time is always right to do what is right. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about what matters." Throughout his life, King held true to his faith and to his core principle that in the end, love will conquer hate, no matter how long it takes. "Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that," he famously said. All right, teammates, as we honor the legacy of Dr. King, we will have a very important advisory lesson this Tuesday where we honor the life of Dr. King. And to give us more information about that assignment, I want to turn it over to Director Valet.
And thank you, Mr. Johnson, for that. Happy Friday, Kipsters. I hope you enjoyed the first week back, full week back to school here. I want to take a minute and discuss and tell you a little bit about what to expect when you return the day after MLK Day, which will be Tuesday of next week. And I hope you all enjoy your MLK Day this upcoming Monday. On Tuesday, Kipsters, we're going to start off writing advisory. We're going to have an advisory lesson, which is going to give you an opportunity to look at Martin Luther King Jr.'s timeline, and we're going to create that timeline with some video. It's going to be really fun and cool. What we can expect on Tuesday throughout the day is even better. We're going to devote the entire day to learning and having fun learning about Martin Luther King Jr. It's going to be an amazing day, Kipsters. Can't wait to see you there. And Kipsters, I'd also like to hit on one of our core values here at the school, which is liberation. To live a liberated life might mean to be true to yourself, honoring your feelings and your emotions while celebrating your identity. To live amongst your community, spreading love, showing empathy when needed, standing up for what's right, living free from others' thoughts of you and their expectations of you. What is liberation? According to the dictionary, liberation is being set free or a release from social stereotyping. We believe that liberation is twofolded at times. One form comes when a person or group who is stereotyped chooses to overcome the labels set upon them by individuals or society as a whole, and therefore finds liberation within themselves. The second, we believe, comes when an individual or society that places labels on others takes the time to look inside the labeled person or group rather than simply seeing the outside, and thus become liberated in knowledge. At KNDMS, we encourage all of our students to continue to self-reflect, think about the life they want to live, and the legacy they want to create. Dr. King was a prime example of a man who set out to liberate himself and his community in the hopes that all people could live equally and prosper in our country. Moments in history of liberation include Europe's liberation from the Nazis, the slaves' liberation from slavery in the US, and South Africa's liberation from the oppression of apartheid. Team and family, Kipsters, we will continue to work together to ensure that our students become liberated. KNDMS, Kipsters, team and family, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you all on Tuesday.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson and Mr. Vale. Remember, students, Monday is not just a day off. It's a very important time to honor the memory of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and his legacy and what we can still do with the ideals that he preached. Now it's time to talk about some other dates. So let's go over to this week's segment of Get Out Your Calendar. First up, no school on the 16th. That is in celebration of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And then on the 17th, Kipsters come to school prepared for an alternate set of work. We're going to be doing a lot of cool learning about Martin Luther King Jr., about his legacy and things like that. On the 18th, we're starting access testing. That's that Wednesday when we come back. Access testing is just for our students that are multi-language learners. This is the way my MLL students, my folks that are in the ELD classes, this is the way you test out of those classes. So please take this time seriously. Please do your best on these access tests. On the 25th, we have that immunization clinic I mentioned earlier. That's from 4 to 8 over at KNDLA. On the 10th and the 13th of February, there is no school. These are staff PD days. So staff will still be on campus. Students will not be on campus. So make sure that we've got some plans for those days, the 10th and the 13th of February. Then on the 20th, again, no school because we've got President's Day. And then on the 34th, on March 24th, our spring family conferences. So look out for some information on how you can sign up for those family conferences. Hopefully, if we're checking our grades regularly, which our students are doing every Wednesday, and that families you have the option to do through that parent portal, there won't be any surprises on those conferences. So it'll just be a time to connect and plan for that last quarter. We end our quarter 3 on that same day, and then we jump into spring break from the 27th through the 30th, coming back for Cesar Chavez Day. Well, not really coming back. Not coming back, I guess, for Cesar Chavez Day on the 31st. And that's all the important dates to get on our calendar for now on this week's segment of Get Out Your Calendar. And now it's time to conclude this week's community update, and we do that with our student celebrations. So let's give it up for these top Ghana earners from this first full week back after winter break. Congratulations, Kipsters. Thank you all again for tuning in to this week's community update. Again, I'm Jeremy Mullet, your assistant principal of instruction, and I hope you all have a fantastic weekend.